Yeah.
David Bowie and Queen
The
did
Clash.
Under Pressure, The Clash, Violent Femmes, Guns N'
Mm-hmm.
Roses, Faith No More,
Mm-hmm.
Pete Townsend,
Yep.
The English Beat.
Yeah, there's some practices of mediocrity there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's supposed to be like the reunion, the high school reunion movie for people my age at the time. And I got to tell you, I didn't know anybody other than the Clash, anybody that was listening to the stuff that's on there. Guns N' Roses, Faith No More, but you know, a lot of the stuff was actually before our time. And Violent Femmes didn't become popular till college days for me, so they were later. But yeah, good soundtrack, a movie I remember being okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Just okay.
just okay. It's passable. Oh wait. Yeah. This is a tatty favorite here. Clueless, the soundtrack, probably has the best song by. Let's see here. Luscious Jackson. Here, it's better than their other hit, Naked Eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's better. It's more fun. It's more upbeat. Clueless is a fun soundtrack for a somewhat decent movie. The Muffs are on here. Cracker got on here. I forgot they got on here. World Party I can care less about. Radiohead, Jesus Christ. I know everybody loves them. I know.
You know what's funny about, it's not really funny, but I mean, that movie, Paul Rudd, the actor in that movie,
Yeah.
he is not aged. I swear the man is not aged.
I know, it's weird. He's like dipped in adamantium or something. How about Coolio is on here? Rolling with My Homies. Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. Beastie Boys, of course. Mullet Head. That's a little known Beastie Boys song unless you have this. And Jill Sabule. I don't know how to say Brule. How do you say Brule? How do you say her name?
Who is it?
Exactly.
Jill Sobule. Yeah.
Supermodel's the song. I'm pretty sure I never got that far. It's number 14 in the last song. Velocity Girl, not bad. Supergrass, they were supposed to be a big deal. And I don't think it actually happened in America. I think it happened over in Europe more. Counting Crows, of course. Smoking Popes. Yeah, this was a very mediocre soundtrack now that I look at it, but I really like the Luscious Jackson song on here, and I'm not alone on that one. I know other people that like that one. And you're going to laugh at me for this, and some people actually hate me for it. And some people that have lived with me hate me for this one. I love this movie because I lived one of the characters in this. And the soundtrack is freaking cool as hell, but practicing
Cable Guy.
Psychosomatic, we'll just say more of a social. He was a sociopath beyond anything I've ever seen before in my life. The Cable Guy, and I was definitely the Matthew Broderick character that had this crazy dude best friends. He was kind of just one of these guys. My buddy Lance, and if he listens to this, he'll admit to it. He used to break into my house to wake me up and drag me out early in the morning so we can go do stupid shit. Go to the mall, go to the beach. Because he was bored and couldn't sleep and hopped up on caffeine.
But why? Why?
He'd break through my window. There was a ground floor. He'd just come through, move the air conditioner, and wake my ass up. And what's worse, my parents sometimes, my mom at the time, would let him in the house to wake me up on a Saturday. I worked nights till I worked in a nightclub till 3 a.m. I get home, and I wanted to sleep because that's when I slept because I have to do it again that Saturday night. My mother would let him in the house to wake me up. He would literally abduct me, and I would forget, throwing beers down my throat, which wasn't a difficult thing. But I was at his mercy in his Monte Carlo, just driving all over Long Island, and he knew everybody, so we had to stop here, stop there. I'm like, dude, I have to get home. I have to sleep. I have to change. I have to shower. I have to go work tonight. And fuck that, man. You don't have to do that. Yes, I do. He was the Cable Guy. He was my Cable Guy. He used to come into my house and literally make ice sculptures in my freezer. Now, I don't even know how he thought of this, but the first time he came to my house, his name's Lance again. He was the Jim Carrey character in The Cable Guy. The first time he came to my house, I wasn't there. I was at work or at school still. And somehow he came to my house. He's knocking on the door. My dad was living with us at the time. Opens the door, and the dude, Lance, is not. he's knocking with his head. Okay, he's knocking the door with his head, and my dad lets him in. And Dave's not here yet, and I called home for some other reason, and my dad's like, "Yeah, your friend Lance is here." I was like, "Jesus Christ, how long has he been there?" And he's like, "Well, he's currently yelling at the TV, watching a football game that's not on." Yeah,
So he'd been there for like an hour.
He was there an hour before I got. This is the first time he's at my house. The first time, and my dad just let him in. Then he picked up the phone and started screaming on the phone to nobody. There's nobody there, and my dad is just witnessing all this. And then he found time to. He took a spray bottle of water. I don't know if it was a water gun. I don't remember how he did this. It might have been an empty Windex bottle that he filled with water. And he took a bunch of marshmallows and made a pyramid out of ice and marshmallows in my freezer that I would have to find later on. My mother found it. And like, it was creative. It was genius. I'm like, this is amazing. And it's going to be here for a long time. We're not going to be able to use this fucking freezer now because he made this ice sculpture. Like my mom had to come home and find that one. And I'm like, yeah, well, Dad let Lance in the house. That's nothing. Lance is another episode. But yeah, I live the cable guy.
I have stories like that for another episode.
Please share. But yeah, well, I guess I'm going to close it off with this. I mentioned the Crow soundtrack. God, it's funny. My favorite on here is an unlikely one. Machines of Loving Grace, Gagotha Tenement Blues.
Great band. I miss that band.
I love that song. Yeah, I miss them too. We were talking about them on an earlier episode, the one before this one. But just go through that soundtrack. I mean, the Crow, I think, is the winner here.
Yeah, The Cure, Machines of Loving Grace, Stone Temple Pilots, 9 Inch Nails, Rage Against the Machine, Violent Femmes, Rollins Band, Helmet.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Fuck yeah.
Pantera, For Love Not Lisa. Do you remember that?
Slipside Melting. I have their album. That is the best thing they will ever do. That song. That album. It's a horrendously bad album.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. It is. But that song, Slipside Melting, is good.
Yeah.
But you can hear tinges in that where the guy's voice gets a little grating on your nerves. And that's how the album
I'm going to have to go back and listen to it.
The song is good. The guitars are great. The music's great. The singer's decent. And then he just kind of, towards the end, you're kind of like, ooh, should he be doing that?
My Life with a Thrill Kill Cult. The Jesus and Mary Chain. You a fan?
Not enough.
Yeah.
I don't own any of their music, and the few things I've heard, I really liked.
Yeah, they're really good. Another band like them, Black Rebel Motorcycle.
Yes.
Club. Love those guys.
Oh, that I have everything. I even have Howl, the acoustic double album.
Yeah, that's a great album.
I have to go back. In my mellow, like I said, my mellower older days, I need to go back and listen to them a little more. They're good.
And Medicine and James Siberry. Yeah, this is a great song.
Can't Rain All the Time. That's the record you hear when it's on the vinyl when they're, well, that's what's playing in the movie. But yeah, I think was that supposed to be his band? I don't remember now. But yeah, The Crow is a great revisit, and the soundtrack is an even better revisit. And we're gonna wrap this thing up here very shortly. Find me on Twitter at Fairly Dark. And you can get all our shows at www.society-13.com. That's all our podcasts. There's quite a few on there now. All Kettle Whistle Radio shows are there, as well as my site, www.fairlydarkproductions.com. And take a look at my books, guys, so we can keep doing this. I really would appreciate it. And my publisher would like it, too, because I have other stuff coming out, but I have to show them some creds. Got to sell some books. I'd appreciate anything. There's a comic book that's really cheap. It's like $4 for Demon Eye, and you can find the trailer to Demon Eye on YouTube and on my page. But look up Demon Eye Comic on YouTube, and you can see the trailer, the soundtrack. The music is done by Magnet School, great band I had on here. They're currently touring in Japan. Demon Eye is an anime, full color, 26 pages. And I'm looking to get issue 2 and then some on, but people need to buy this thing for that to happen. But yeah, you can read issue 2 in Dwelling in the Dark. I have story 1 and story 2 of Demon Eye in that, if you really are jonesing for part 2. Hopefully you pick up part 1. And Facebook for both of us. Kettle Whistle Radio is on Facebook. And I am going to close with something else, but what else you got?
I think that's all I got.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
gonna go out with something horrific. Well, one of the worst movies ever, and is deemed as one of the worst sequels ever made.
Oh, I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, and and as a horror fan, I hate the movie because the first one's so good. But The Howling Part 2. Howling 2, horrendously bad movie. Everybody in the horror realm will agree with that. There was one reason to listen, Jesus Christ, to watch it, and that's to hear the song "The Howling" by Steve Parsons' Babel remix as a dance remix and everything else. And it was pretty cool goth music for the time. If you're into like Sisters of Mercy, just not as good as them. Danceable rock and roll, basically done over in England. But yeah, their song "Howling," it's decent, and it's the only thing to come out of that movie that was worth a shit. I choke even when I say that, but yeah, you're about to hear it. So we'll get into a little bit of The Howling. Thanks for listening, guys. I think you've listened to us babble enough, and go back and listen. And if you missed the Collide episode, definitely listen to that. And we'll have more for you in the future. We're working on some things here. We got some irons in the works, right?
That's right.
Don't we? I think we do. All right. Thanks for listening. And folks, friends, and fiends, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to let Sean say goodnight.
Good night, everybody.
In the pale, pale light of the moon glow, I got a hunger that's emotional, hunger that I can't control.